Yep, you read the headline of this video correctly. A'ja Wilson is a loser. Yes, I'm aware she's won the last 2 WNBA championships, and yes, I'm aware that this year she won her 3rd WNBA MVP. Two of the major indicators that would say that she's a winner and not a loser. But the fact is quite a bit different. She is a loser because victims never walk in victory. And that's just a fact of the matter. That's just a simple fact of life. First of all, apologize if you hear any these fan noises in the background. We are on day number 7 without power here. A little frustrating, but I just have to remind myself that, we got it pretty good. Up in Asheville and Chimney Rock, North Carolina, my home state, a little ways away from where I grew up, they have it a lot worse than we do. Never been this long without power in my life. I remember Hurricane Hugo, 1989. I was 5 years old. I was living in Winston-Salem, North Carolina, where I was born and spent the first 34 years of my life. I think we had 3 days without power, 3 or 4 days. We had a big ice storm one year. It sounded like a war zone in the woods in the distance, with limbs cracking, falling, so many power lines down. I think we were out of power for like 3 days. It was 3 days. Never been out of power 7 days, so it was a little bit different. Luckily, the fans are on because we have a generator. My mother-in-law is letting us use her generator. She bought one when she came up here. She lives in the low country of South Carolina. She's up here in the upstate. She's a nurse. She's helping to provide care to people that are at the Bon Secours Center in Greenville, formerly the Bilo Center. Anybody in this area probably knows of the Bilo Center, but Bon Secours Health and Wellness has done a great job providing health care in this area, and they're the ones who sponsor that building, and they're allowing people to stay there. She's there providing medical care to the people who need it. So thanks to her, very, very blessed to have a wonderful family, a wonderful wife, and wonderful in-laws. Wish I got to see them more. Wish I need to go see them more. That's on me. What you just heard there was me taking responsibility for me not doing the things I need to do to see them more often, and also being grateful when I might not have the greatest hand in the world. I also don't have the worst hand, and I'm going to be grateful for the blessings that the good Lord's given me. A'ja Wilson cannot say the same. It's come to light that she's had some very, very racist things to say. Racist against white people. It is clear that she does not like white people. She does not like whiteness, and she's made that very clear, and that's very, very off-putting. That's every bit as off-putting as these white people you see that go on and on about black people, how they don't like them, and how they're this and they're that, and just because they're black and blah, 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 blah. Just completely ignorant, completely everything you never want to be, and that's exactly what A'ja Wilson is. I know this is going to sound kind of easy. Anybody that's seen my previous videos knows I do not like her game. I've been open about that. I find her style of game very boring, very difficult to watch, but as it turns out, and I've hinted to it, she's played the race card quite a bit in the past this year already that we knew of, but it's actually far darker and far deeper than even I knew. Recently, her comments at last year's Women's Final Four came out. I'm pretty sure that was the game of UConn and Paige Beckers against Caitlin Clark in Iowa, which Iowa would win in a thriller. A little bit controversial, but, it's anything not controversial nowadays. But, so she's sitting there next to Kelsey Plum, her teammate, who's white. And I believe that's Jackie Young was sitting between them. She looked like she wanted to be anywhere else in the world besides listening to A'ja talk, which, if you listen to A'ja talk, you want to be anywhere else in the world besides listening to A'ja talk, because she is boring. I'll say that, and if she wants to, I doubt she'll ever see this video, but if she does, she wants to call me a racist for it, you know what, I'll wear it. That's fine. If you want to sit there and pretend like it's all about race and not about the fact that your game is boring and that you are boring and that you're quite honestly a very bad person, well, make no efforts in improving yourself and just blame it on the rest of the world like you've done your whole life. So she's sitting there and she's telling Kelsey Plum that she likes Paige Beckers. This is after Paige Beckers was given, Female Athlete of the Year, ESPY, at Woke ESPN, the worldwide leader in woke. My least favorite network of all, to be honest with you. And sitting there, and Paige Beckers started going on about white privilege and how she's privileged to be white. And even though I think she grew up in a single-parent household, I might be wrong about that one, but somebody who did not have an unprivileged upbringing was Asia Wilson. But she was telling Kelsey Plum, yeah, Paige Beckers reminds you of you. You know, as a black woman, I see her understanding that it's her privilege that got her to where she is now, just like you. So she's basically telling Kelsey Plum that she's only there because she's white, just like she's saying Paige Beckers is only there because she's white, and there's an unspoken shot at Caitlin Clark being taken there, who's never apologized for being white. She's never said anything against anybody either. But that's not enough. In the world of the WNBA, the fake activist, online socialist who bully straight women and white women, which I'll get to in a second, it's not enough. They have to do more. They have to do better to satisfy that. You know, here's Asia Wilson just playing the victim. Got these championships under her belt, got these MVPs under her belt. She was anointed before the season started the unanimous MVP. Everybody said she was going to be the unanimous MVP, and it happened. Even though Nafesia Collier was very much worthy of taking a few of those first place votes. In fact, I think she could have won the award personally. And as far as just valuable players, we all know who the most valuable player in the league was, and that's Caitlin Clark for reasons I'll get into again in a second. But you have to look at Asia Wilson's story. She went to a private school, not just any private school, like a $10,000, $20,000, $30,000 a year private school. Her father apparently played professional basketball in Europe or Turkey or somewhere like that. I think Turkey's in Europe. As you can tell, I did not go to a well-established private school, or I just didn't pay attention either way. I'll let you decide which. I didn't pay attention. But she actually went to that, which is very, very privileged for her. And she's sitting there lecturing people about privilege. Like I said, she's been anointed as the best in the league forever, even though it's gotten the league nowhere. Her success and the Aces' success has gotten the league nowhere. I mean, they built a statue of her outside of the arena already. That doesn't happen till you retire. How many people have gotten a statue made for them while they're still playing? And that includes Michael Jordan, because that famous statue was done after his first retirement. They thought he was done. So he's the only person I can think of off the top of my head who played with the statue while he was still active, and that was because they weren't anticipating him coming back. And they've already built a statue of her outside of the 10,000-seat Las Vegas arena, because they can't play in the big arena because they can't sell it out unless Caitlin Clark comes to town, because Asia Wilson's game is so boring. And Asia also has a very boring personality. It's funny that Coach Becky Hammond was talking about three-peating's tough. She's like, now my players are celebrities, because we all know who Kelsey Plum and Asia Wilson were before this year when Caitlin Clark came along. Oh, wait, no, we didn't. Whoops. But no, in all seriousness, we didn't. And so there's this one car commercial, I think it's a CarMax commercial, that we see about every commercial break in every WNBA game. It's Asia up front. The reason I know it's Asia up front is because they call her by name. I don't know who the other three people in the car are. And they're like, wow, this car is awfully crowded. And it's like, that's good enough. And like, well, was it good enough when you just got one MVP and in the most boring, bland voice possible? Asia's like, no, it wasn't good enough. And I'm sitting there like, ugh, boy, can we get back to the games and I watch Caitlin Clark play? Just a horrible attitude for somebody that's been given as much as her, that somebody's been as privileged as much as her. I mean, she has so much privilege, and she still just wants to play it all down because she's black, and I don't know if she's straight or not. I don't know what her sexuality is. It doesn't matter to me. It doesn't matter to me what her skin color is, so I can't really tell you that. But this is just more stories we've seen of women that are not black and not lesbians in the WNBA getting bullied. There's a story of, I can't remember her name, but she basically said she got bullied out of the WNBA. She couldn't stand the harassment anymore because she was one of the few straight people there. I think she said 98% of the WNBA is not straight. Now, like I said, I don't care. I don't care what your sexuality is, but, bullying people because they don't have your sexuality is wrong. And sitting there playing the victim about it and saying, I'm the victim, so you need to bow down to me and acknowledge that is just crazy. I mean, Asia has a lot more privilege than I've ever had. I grew up in the Carolinas too, and I went to public school. I mean, my parents, I didn't know this, but my first few years I was actually eligible for reduced lunch. My parents refused to take it. They didn't want me to be like they were. My parents both grew up very poor, and they didn't want me to be on reduced lunches like them. And Dad, he had to work all he could work just to keep us above the poverty line. And I feel like I had a very comfortable upbringing. We had stuff. We may have not had the latest and greatest, but we had stuff. And I can't ever thank him and Mom are my heroes because of that, because of the work they put in, the care they put into me. I'm able to have a very good life right now, a much better life than they had, which was their goal and their only goal the whole time. They wanted me to have a better life and better opportunities than they had. And oh yeah, if you can't tell, they're very much white like I am. And they both had very hard scrabble upbringings. I did not. We might not have had the most money in the world, but I was very happy and very comfortable growing up, and I've had a very happy and comfortable life. So more than a lot of people can say. And I've learned to count my blessings as a result of that, including now without power. But that's okay. Asia absolutely just needs to get her head on her shoulders and understand she is not a victim. But she wants to be the victim. Because she's a victim, that's why she's a loser. Because victims never walk in victory. I mean, compared to me, I'm a winner and she's a loser. I've never played sports ever outside of Pee Wee League. Do I have any professional MVPs? No. Do I have any professional championships? No. Do I make the money she has? No. Do I have a shoe deal? No. But I'm not a victim. I understand that I'm very lucky to have the life that I have. I'm in a $110,000 modular home. I own the home, and I own the 0.9 of an acre it's on. And I'm lucky. I understand that I'm lucky. That makes me a victor. That makes me a winner. Asia has all the privilege in the world, still wants to be the victim. In her mind, it's not enough. In her mind, everybody's after her. And that's why she's a victim. And that's why she's a loser. So all the statues, all the rings, all the MVP trophies, look at them. All the statues, go stare at your statue, go stare at these commercials that you're in that don't move any product. I mean, you got Nike, who's a very woke corporation, who's signed Caitlin Clark to a pretty big deal by the women's basketball standard. They're basically ignoring her just to make Asia look better. She has billion-dollar companies holding other people down to help make her look better. I mean, nobody in the WNBA needs to be getting any kind of sponsorship recognition other than Caitlin Clark and now Aaliyah Boston. I've seen a few of Aaliyah Boston's commercials now, including her TJ Maxx commercial. It's good. Aaliyah Boston, I'm telling you, I've seen her all year. She has a very sweet personality. She's well-spoken, and she has a million-watt smile. She has a smile that just lights everything up. She's a very, very amazing person, and she's somebody that the league can definitely get behind. A lot more than Asia. Her game is more visually pleasing to watch than Asia. I mean, give her a few years and let her teammates develop the way Asia's have and see what she can do. I mean, she is the anchor of that Indiana Fever team. It's not Caitlin. Caitlin even said it at the start of the year. But you could tell by watching that, and I've never heard anybody else refer to her as this, but Aaliyah Boston is the anchor of that Indiana Fever team. She is the one who kind of sets the tone. You can tell, they need a bucket, she'll get one. Because Lord knows Christy Size ain't going to call a timeout, but that's another story for another day. But it shows, it just shows how unlikable people like Asia Wilson are. The Indiana Fever only had 2 playoff games. One was on an NFL Sunday. They drew 1.84 million. And then their second game on a Wednesday, they drew 2.5 million, something like that. Just a crazy number. While not having to oppose the NFL. And since she left, the ratings have fallen. The Connecticut, I can't want to say the Phoenix Suns, the Connecticut Sun, who beat the Fever, leave and go to the Minnesota Lynx, the 4-time champions in the last 14 years or so, and the place is half full. They can't even get 8,000 people there, and they draw about 650,000 viewers on TV, which isn't bad by their standards, but it's nowhere close to what it was with Caitlin Clark. And as it turns out, I didn't even know this is a rematch of last year's finals. So I guess they don't do conferences in the WNBA. I just knew that after Caitlin got eliminated. the New York Liberty and the Las Vegas Aces with Asia Wilson and Kelsey Plum, and the Liberty have Sabrina Ionescu and Brianna Stewart and quite a few other big names, and it's New York. They drew 920-something thousand, which is a good number, but it's half of what Caitlin pulled on the previous Sunday going up against the NFL. Caitlin Clark has us willing to put off our football obsession to watch her, to watch the WNBA. Let that sink in. That's just how much of a magnet she is, how much people want to see her. And they're just so jealous because it's not them. And it can't be because I'm unlikable. It's got to be because I'm black. It has to be because I'm not straight. It has to be da-da-da-da-da-da-da. It's trash. It's all trash. The league's trash. And now you're going to come back to reality. You know, Diana Taurasi said reality's coming. She was right. She didn't mean for the start of the season. She meant and for Caitlin Clark, she meant for the WNBA after Caitlin Clark was eliminated from the playoffs. Actually, she wasn't, but I'm just going to say that. It's just crazy, and I don't get it. I don't understand why people have to be that way. You know, the WNBA has had a golden opportunity this year. People like Asia Wilson have had a golden opportunity to say, hey, this is my chance. A lot of people are watching me that weren't watching me. I'm going to be likable. I'm going to go out of my way to try to shine through. And instead, all she does is just continues to be darkness. That's all she is. She's just a black hole. And that has nothing to do with her color either. She's just, by the most basic definition of the term, a black hole. She not only is she not likable, she sucks any likableness around her out. I don't know if likableness is a word or not, but I used it. You know what I mean. So, to Asia, I mean, I hope you get your head together, and I hope you understand that you have a lot to be grateful for, and stop being a victim and start walking in victory like you should be. But you're not. Caitlin Clark's the victor. Aaliyah Boston's the victor. You are a loser. So enjoy staring at your statue. It's got more charisma than you do. So enjoy it. And just know that you're a loser. That's all there is to it. You are a loser. So, believe it or not, when I started making these videos, I wanted to be all-encompassing. I wanted to talk about my Braves. They just lost. They had injuries, but they still made kind of a miracle run into the... Well, not a miracle run, but they avoided a choke into the playoffs and promptly got beaten by San Diego 2 games in a row. There's a lot of love to talk about with them. Lifelong Braves fan. Some of my earliest memories sitting next to Dad watching the Braves on the Superstation, TBS, but maybe I'll get to that one day. Maybe the WNBA will stop embarrassing themselves and putting all this garbage out there that I actually feel I need to get off my chest. So thank you, Asia, but I would love to look you in the eyes. I'd have to look up a little bit. You're about 2 inches taller than me. I think you're 6'4". I have to look up to you, but I would love to look up into your eyes and tell you you're a loser. That's all there is to it. So thank you guys for tuning into these videos, and like I said, don't hesitate to subscribe, and I will talk to you guys later.